I've given you a couple different ways to start a build-up, right? I don't know if I hit 90. That's okay. Welcome feel a little rickety. Yeah, I'm lucky. Keep it up, guys. Keep it up. Good. Win to the second one, quickly. Yeah. Yep.
Change that pace, Caitlin.
Keep the pace, guys.
Correct details, play it to the correct form. Okay? We'll switch out halfway through. Ready? Go!
Let's start the ping it.
Ball, Val. Yep. Here.
Yes,
Ball, Allie.
Yes.
well done, Kai.
Challenging you today. Yeah. Yes, Allie.
Okay.
Good, Jules. Good try.
Moving with the ball. Good. Yep. Good, well done.
Morgan, thank you as always for joining us. Headed across the country to take on Seattle. Just give us your initial thoughts on what you expect to see in that matchup.
Yeah, I think Seattle's a really good team. We respect them a lot. For us, obviously, we've been in a good run and we're on a roll. And I feel like for us, we're in a confident space. And I think we're just looking to go across country and get 3 points.
Go ahead, Austin.
Kind of talking about that run, it's been very successful in terms of just how different the team has looked from game to game, not only formation-wise, but also roster-wise, just the players that are playing. How has the team been able to keep that consistency with all the change that's been happening within the team?
Yeah, I think, one of the things we pride ourselves on from the beginning is whatever it takes. And I think for us to be successful through a whole season, especially now it's a long season, we're going to need everyone. And so everyone needs to be ready and prepared. And I think just know your roles. And like you said, sometimes we can look different game to game. And I think that's just knowing each other's strengths and personnel. But I think that we play a lot together constantly in training. And I think it's just everyone knowing what everyone's good at. And so it's seamless once we get on the field.
For you personally in the midfield, obviously you started with Angelina, you have Luana, and now with Haley. How has just playing with them kind of changed the way that you play in terms of just the midfield in general and kind of adapting your game to their game?
Yeah, I think like you said, there's been so many different pairings in the midfield through the whole season already. And I think it's, like I said before, it's just knowing each other's strengths and kind of thinking what plays off of each other well in different scenarios. And I think it's just, like I said before too, it's also one of those things where you want to play with people more to get more of a rhythm. And I think that, we've been so good so far. And I think as long as we continue to have rhythm and get to know each other even better, it can be so much better.
With Seattle, their home stadium is very big and very daunting. How do you kind of prepare for playing in a place like that?
Yeah, I think just like we always do. I feel like it's just one of those things where we go and we focus on ourselves, and we're obviously going across country, and for us we don't want to get anything less than 3 points and continue the role that we're on.
For you personally, just how has it been with the Pride now? Obviously the success is great.
Yeah.
But just for you personally, coming back from injury last year and now playing games and winning, it just overall for you.
Yeah, it's been great. I have been so happy that I'm here. It feels like home. I feel like I've fit in seamlessly on the field and off the field with the team, and I think the culture here is great, and we have something really special here. So I'm really happy to be a part of it and happy to be here, and I think for us, we just want to do something special for the city this year.
All right, and one more from the Zoom here in the chat. They're asking about the younger players on the team. Corey Dyke, Ali Lemos, Amanda Allen, even Summer Yates are all part of that younger core. As someone who's been in the league a little while now, can you just talk about the younger core of this group and how it kind of differs to other, younger players you've seen in the league?
Yeah, I think you're seeing this trend in the league now where you have some veteran players, but then you have a lot of young players and a young core that teams are developing. And I think it's super important and part of our job and our role as veterans to teach them and to help mentor and to help kind of guide them, especially because we've been around and we've seen a lot of things and we kind of know what it takes to be successful at this level. And so I think it's part of our role is to take them under our wing and help them, and to help them get to another level, but also to help them be successful in the long run.
All right, we are joined by head coach Seb Hines. Seb, as always, thanks for the time. Making the trip across country here this week. Just give us your initial thoughts on Seattle and what kind of you expect to see in the match on Sunday.
We obviously looked back at their last game against Portland, and I don't think the scoreline reflected their performance. I thought they put up a good fight against Portland. Obviously, the penalty probably changed the outcome of the game. They're a good team. We got an experienced coach there as well who has won a lot in this league, and so we have to be mindful of Seattle and what they can create, and it's going to be a challenging game for us because our record's not great away at Seattle, and so that's something that we want to improve and continue this momentum that we showed early on in the season.
With Seattle, playing at Lumen Field with the turf and the football stadium, does that kind of affect or change anything that you guys prepare for in terms of just how the ball rolls or anything like that?
Yeah, it's definitely different playing on turf. I spent 2 years at Camping World playing on turf, and it wasn't the easiest. The bounce of the ball does change. We've got an early kickoff as well, and depending on the weather, can change in an instance. I think they'll probably wet the field early, and then it may dry out, and so the bounce, the trajectory of the ball will change, and so we have to adapt to that. And I think it will pose some challenges. One thing we can control is how we play and our mentality going into the game, and I think that will be a constant regardless on if we play on turf or on grass.
Defensively for this team, we talked a lot about how it's been solid. You've kind of found a lineup that has been consistent in back-to-back clean sheets. How have you kind of seen the growth of the back line in terms of especially some of the younger players like Carrie Bello and Emily Sams, and just their trajectory in this team and how they've kind of stepped up in different roles?
Yeah, I always go back to the start of the season. We have a good group of footballers, and positions are just starting points. And you look at the modern day game, centre backs have to be able to play at fullback and defend in fullback situations. So with like Emily moving to right back, it's been an easier transition for her. Carrie Bello has played a lot of games at left back in a collegiate career. She came as a left back, so it's probably her natural position, but never want to take qualities going forward as well. The deep runs, taking on players in that position, and converting Kylie into a centre back. She's fitted in really well. Rafa, it's a collective effort. We do a lot of work on it on the training grounds. Bree, Carrie, Corey's played there as well. Celia, you look at the start of the year, we had 4 fullbacks playing against Angel City, and so it's prepped us really well into this period of the season, and so we can rely on anyone who has to go in and do a job in those positions, and so it's made it easier for me because our principles, our culture has been terrific, and they're doing whatever it takes to get the 3 points at the end of the game.
How important is it just to have center backs that are comfortable on the ball? I know you enjoy playing the ball out of the back, but being able to have center backs that can control the pace of the game and handle the pressure when teams are pressing high. How important is that for you just to build up with the team?
Yeah, it's massive. Again, they're all really good footballers, and I think that's probably been the evolution of the game. Back when I started, it was more head it and kick it centre backs, old English football. But you see the modern game now, and it's a lot of playmaking comes from at the back. So they have to be good passers of the ball. They have to read the press, read defenders' movements to find midfielders and forwards in threatening areas, and so they have to be comfortable in those situations, even though it might be high risk and going into hard environments where there's a lot of fans and they're nervous expressions are on the field, and so you have to have a calm demeanor in there and know what you're decisions are, but you can see that it's working really well for us. And the more that teams commit to their press, it opens up gaps, and we can get to our forwards who can hopefully score the goals at the end of it.
How has that mentality changed you as a coach? Kind of just as you mentioned, you were taught with the head and kick the ball away, but now the game has changed so much that you have to adapt. And how do you kind of adjust your mentality from what you learned growing up to now coaching and adapting to this new style of play?
I think I was in that period where the transition was happening as well. So I had some really top coaches as I was growing up. Some who are now coaching at the highest level. So I learned a lot from them, but also keeping up to date with the modern game as well. I was part of that centre back who had to play through the lines and play through to the midfielders or the wingers, and so just learning and seeing how the game's evolving has allowed me to coach in that way. Also being put in that position, the same as like some of our defenders, I've been in those situations, and so there's a very big mental aspect to it as well, having that confidence to try things. But you can't take away the old school. Like it's part of the game as well. Teams are going to put the ball into the box, and you have to have that mentality to head it, clear it away, defend, put your body on the line. And I think that's something that might be a dying art, but we try to keep that constant within our group.